gentlemen, to another episode of the Deep Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Bo Walker. I'm joined by Jason Cephas and our baseball expert, Mr. Ramsey Sheep Talk Core.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here.
So we got some sports to talk about. You know, we're finally out of spring training baseball. We're into regular season. We've got the end of NCAA basketball, March Madness, which it's what it was.
It was good.
It was all right.
I don't understand. I don't understand what did you not like about
it? I didn't win any money. And it didn't matter because my team wasn't in it anyhow. The Tar Heels, North Carolina wasn't in it either way, so I didn't really give two shits. But we've also...
There were a lot of good games.
There were some good games. There were some upsets.
There were a lot of good games.
But we also got a little bit of hockey.
The legend of FDU.
FAU.
No, FDU. FAU was the Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, the number 9 seed.
Yeah, but FDU was the team that upset...
Oh, Fairfield Dickinson. Got it.
Yes.
Okay, all right. But we also got some news in the wide world of wrestling. We have a little bit of hockey talk, and we're recording this on Thursday, the 6th of April, the first official day of the best weekend in golf. It's Masters Week. It just so happens that Masters Sunday falls on Easter Sunday, and I'm a little sad that I won't be able to watch as much of golf as I want to because we're going to be celebrating Jesus. You know what? I think Jesus would want me to be able to watch golf.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely. That was his favorite sport too.
All right. Let's start at the top. Let's start with baseball. It's regular season, and the Pirates just swept the Red Sox.
Now, to be fair, the Red Sox are not a good team this year, but it's still always cool to sweep a team, regardless of who it is or how good they are.
Especially a team as storied as Boston, oldest stadium in baseball, right?
It's always cool to go see the Green Monster and stuff. And I like that starting this season, it's the new what they call balanced schedule where every team plays every team every season. So the Pirates are going to get to go to some of these storied stadiums. I mean, they already get to go to Wrigley all the time, but now they'll get to go to Fenway and some of these other ones that they normally would only get to go to once every 5 or 6 years. Now they'll get to go at least every other year or so, roughly. So
okay, cool. So I didn't know about the new balanced schedule thing.
Yeah, so they play their division opponents less times now than what they previously did.
Okay, well
they still play them more than any other team, but not as many games because a lot of those games go into playing because now they play every team in both leagues, which it's come a long way in a really short time because it wasn't that long ago that interleague play just didn't happen at all, and it's slowly been growing and growing because people like it. People it draws in the crowds, right? Yeah. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati fans and stuff, and these kind of teams, they love when the Yankees come to town.
Absolutely.
They sell out a ton of tickets. So, and so it's cool to get to see these teams that you haven't seen. Now, obviously, after a few years, that shine will wear off, but a little bit at least. But it's cool because now for people like me who would love to go see some other stadiums, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You could actually go and watch your team play there. You have a better chance. You don't have to wait forever for that opportunity to come up.
So, do the Pirates play the Yankees at PNC Park this year?
I actually haven't looked to see if they're home or away.
I think they do.
Because if they do, I would definitely be down to go to that because I was before I became a Pirates fan because we didn't get Root Sports when I was a kid. We didn't get the Yankees were the team that was always on TV. They were I'd be
always on the national TV broadcast.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be my team, and then I was like, oh, there's a team 45 minutes away from me. I should probably root for them.
There's one game. There's one team that I really want to go see when they come to Pittsburgh, and that's Toronto.
Yeah.
Just because They have a very fun young team to watch.
Yes, they do.
So
they are a team that I would like to see as well.
Yeah, that's
All
one
right,
team.
Jason, I guess we're gonna go then. Okay.
All right,
I'm game. I'm
Like I
absolutely
said,
game.
I didn't really examine the schedule that close to see which teams are coming to Pittsburgh this season or not.
I think the Yankees are at home.
April 27th is a Thursday. Never mind. It's a Thursday at 12:30 game. It's Dollar Hot Dog Day. They're playing the Dodgers.
Dollar Dog Day.
The last time that there was a Dollar Dog Day, I got pretty doggone sick from eating some hot dogs at that game. They play the Blue Jays May 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Saturday night, the 6th, is Zambelli fireworks night.
Mm-hmm.
They play the Rockies at home, the Diamondbacks at home. I'm enjoying this.
And there's another team that I would love to see them play at home, but they don't play them at home, and that's the Angels.
Oh my God! Could you imagine
to see Ohtani and Trout?
Yes. Yeah.
And it'll be
absolute dream
with the new balanced schedule. It'll be curious to see, like, further down the road if they manage to find, a good balance between, like, still having your divisional games and still having those division rivalries, but also mixing in, the interleague play. Because let's be honest, the season is long enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's been long enough to be.
You mean 162 games is plenty of games?
Yeah.
I just skimmed through their schedule, and I did not see them playing the Yankees this season.
No, I thought they
So,
did. Maybe I saw spring training or something.
They do play the Mets, but I think they play the Mets in New York.
They play in both places. They're National League. They play in both home and away.
Yeah. But
they're in New York in August.
Okay.
I don't know where they're in Pittsburgh.
So for those of us around here that are Pirates fans, and some that Ramsey, how did the Pirates look this season?
Oh yeah, that's another thing I was going to say. You mentioned the Dollar Dog Nights and the fireworks and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is, at least early on in the season, while there's still hope and excitement, there should be a little more fans in the stands this season than in previous years, because the Pirates, though by no means like an awesome team this season, they don't absolutely suck and are trying to actively lose anymore. So
good.
They're shooting to be. They're probably going to be in like the mid 70s, mid to low 70s in wins this year, which is still a losing season, but they should be at least like a 10-game improvement from last season. Next
for
season,
the Pirates standards, that's a good season.
So like next season they really should, like, if they don't have, maybe not make the playoffs, but if they don't have a winning record at the very least next season, that'll be a big disappointment. I mean, there's a huge wave of talent coming to Pittsburgh, and some of the guys that they have been hoping would turn into something. A few of them are finally starting to show that, like Mitch Keller. He was their opening day starter, and he just pitched a gem yesterday in Boston. I mean, he's finally starting to look like the good major league pitcher they had hoped he would be. Now, is he going to be like a true like ace or something like that? Probably not, but he's a good, like, a guy you're happy to have on your team, or at least that's how he's been looking for the past year or so. So
I think the big thing with them. Sorry, Ramsey.
No, you're good.
The big thing with them is I think they need excitement. Like, I think that's where they got to start. They gotta get some excitement going again. Like,
well, that's what they did by bringing McCutchen back.
Yeah.
That's why tickets for opening day tomorrow are, they're sold out, and so it's all resale market, and they're all at least like $130 now.
Yeah.
So I mean, he alone is bringing so many fans back, and like most people love McCutchen, and I'll admit, like, his first go around with the Pirates, I mean, I liked him because he was like one of their star players, but I didn't like love him or anything like that. But it's been since he's been gone. I've seen the connection and like the loyalty he still had to the city. He never left, even though he's played for all these other teams. He still lived here. He's still rooted for the other Pittsburgh teams.
His
Um,
son's
he does
name
still a
is
lot of,
Steel.
yeah, Steel. I mean, he does a lot of
Like
charity
I
work in the
mean,
town, and I mean, and the baseball connection of, is he going to be a Hall of Famer? No, but he will be like in the Pirates Hall of Fame, and he represents. I mean, they had the longest losing streak, like consecutive losing seasons in like major league sports, of any sport, like North American sports, with losing for what was it, like 21 seasons in a row or
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
until they broke that, and he led that charge, and he brought winning back to Pirates baseball, which they'd been sorely missing, because the Pirates are obviously recently, for the most part, been a laughing stock in Major League, but they're one of the more storied franchises. They have a great
Absolutely.
history.
Yeah, and I honestly think with bringing McCutchen back, you're getting that veteran getting the veteran presence in that locker room or in that dugout, that these young players need. They even said, like, Brian Reynolds, I mean, he's by no means a veteran. He's still, by all intents and purposes, a young player in the MLB. And, it's kind of the same thing that the Steelers said, like, last season. I mean, who was there to look up to on the offense? I mean, you had Kenny Pickett, who was a rookie quarterback. I mean, you had maybe 2-year wide receivers. I mean, there was no real leadership. And I feel like bringing McCutchen in, he's going to be that guy that's going to be like, all right, listen, I've been here. I know this is what we got to do, blah, 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 and keep it going.
And the big thing with Kutch is he knows what the city's like when the Pirates are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he'll maybe try to use that as a little bit of momentum for them.
What were you gonna say? You were gonna say something, Ramsey. What was that?
Just the whole McCutchen being a leader thing. He's always been a charismatic guy, but he's never really truly been much of a leader style like guy. I don't know if you know what I mean, but like
I do. Yeah.
But he's growing into that, and I think this homecoming here, he kind of realizes he's kind of got to step into that role in the Pirates. Some people debate the amount of like how much it actually affects having that veteran like leadership and stuff around, but the Pirates clearly, they're buying into it, because not only did they get Kutch, they also got Carlos Santana, who's I think even a year older than Kutch, bringing him in.
Yeah.
They got Rich Hill, who's 43 years old, and I can't believe is the oldest player in Major League Baseball.
No, Ramsey. What do we call him?
Yeah, Dick Mountain. Who is pitching tomorrow for opening day at home?
So, is he really? He's the okay, cool.
Yeah, he's the home opener tomorrow. So
Dick Mountain on the mound.
So they've got quite a few like veteran guys. Are they any of them like superstars? No, but they're all like solid guys that can help just guide this new wave of talent into becoming. And like you said about with McCutchen knowing the atmosphere of like Pittsburgh, like just desperately needing a winning baseball team and knowing what that can mean, he knows, and he's definitely going to instill it in those guys. And I honestly, things are finally starting to look up in Pirates world, so that's exciting.
They have a bright future if we can get through this little swampy patch that we're in right now. The next couple of years are going to look pretty good for the Pirates, I think.
And I honestly do. I like Bob Nutting, but I'm going to even go out on a limb and say that I think he is finally starting to. I mean, obviously he's never going to do anything to match any of like the bigger teams, or he's never going to satisfy people with the amount that he spends. But I think he does realize a little bit the importance of spending money on how that affects the fans and also just the team, because fans come to a winning team. So
exactly.
The fact that the Pirates and Reynolds currently have an agreement in place on years and money on an extension.
They do. That was going to be my next question, honestly.
Yeah, they have an agreement in place. Counting this season and what he's making, it would be an 8-year, $106 million contract, which would be the largest contract in Pirates history.
Wow.
the issue is the reason it hasn't been signed yet is because they were arguing Reynolds' agents wanted an opt-out clause, which the Pirates have never given. So basically, Reynolds, after year 4 of that contract, could decide, I can make money elsewhere. He just leaves the contract and can go sign with another team, which the Pirates don't want to do because that does kind of defeat the purpose. They have him under control for 3 more seasons, right? Like, I think 2 more after this. So, they're negotiating about it. I've seen some rumors, and I like to hope that it's true, that just speculating, purely speculative, just seeing how he's acted around certain people, players, front office, things like that, and the way he's that they're thinking that the Pirates were, and there hasn't been any news on that front recently, so it's either a really big staring contest or some people are thinking just with the buzz tomorrow and how excited everything's going to be that they might announce it for the home opener.
Cool.
So either they're still in a horrible scaring contest, and that's kind of embarrassing that they're this close and they can't get it across the goal line, or they're just waiting till the most exciting day of the season for the Pirates to announce it and just really blow everybody's minds.
Well, I mean, we have that to look forward to tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try to. I have our Easter event fundraiser at work, and I gotta try to hopefully be able to sneak away and watch the beginning of the game.
I was gonna say, what time does the game start?
It's listed as a 4:12 time because the 4:12. But there's so many festivities. I don't know if it'll actually start then or if it'll start at 5.
Well,
I don't know.
That's about what time I will be getting done with most of my work at work tomorrow, so I might have to tune into it.
I'm excited. I mean, it's only 6 games into the season, so that means nothing. But they're 4-2. They're riding a really excited thing. A lot of reporters that have covered the Pirates for years, they said just the vibe in the clubhouse right now is really high. People are excited. The players are feeling pretty good. So, could they potentially surprise everybody and have a winning season or sneak in as a wild card or something like that? Yeah, it's totally possible. Like the Orioles, they surprised everybody last year. They were ahead of schedule. Yeah. They had a winning season. They nearly made the playoffs. Some people are thinking the Pirates could be that. Time will tell. I could see that happening. Would I bet on it? No. But I do firmly believe there will be a good improvement. And like I said, I'm just happy baseball's back, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, well, I will say that the Pirates are not the worst odds to win the Super Bowl. So there's always a chance.
Wow.
Super Bowl? Sorry, wow. Jesus. Good Lord. Well, they don't have the worst odds to win the Super Bowl. All right, no. The worst odds to win the World Series. No, that distinction falls to the Oakland A's.
The A's, yeah, probably the Nationals would be the next to last. Yeah, I think going into this season, most teams are predicting, I think, 5 teams to be worse than the Pirates this year. That I could see that they're going to be around that range. I could see it being as many as 10 on but it's somewhere between 5 and 10 teams worse than them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, let's move on to some hockey real quick. Jason, you wanted to talk about something pretty special that happened in the Steel City.
Yeah. So shifting towards 5th Avenue, PPG Paints Arena, the Penguins. It's no secret that it's been a very up and down roller coaster year.
Boo, Hextile, boo.
Yeah. But Kris Letang hitting his 1,000th game means so much because now him, Malkin, and Crosby have all played 1,000 games. And they have all been with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I think I read that's kind of even almost hard to believe that that's the second time that's happened where 3 players have all played 1,000 games with the same team.
Yeah.
Together.
It I don't know I don't know who else has it, but I mean it's insane. Through all the injuries that those 3 guys have gone through. Crosby has concussions, Malkin's knee injuries, and Letang has had 2 strokes, for God's sakes. And
I mean, there's a very large escalation in those injuries.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the fact that he got it, and it means a lot for Penguins fans, and I think that kind of made everyone in Penguins Nation kind of realize just how special having these three players are. Like, going into this season, I was kind of I was iffy on whether they were going to be a good team or not. But I basically said, I don't care. I don't necessarily care if they win the Stanley Cup. Do I want them to? Yes, obviously. But I've been so unbelievably fortunate that I've been able to see three in my lifetime, and I'm only 23. Yeah. So I've been able to see three championships in my lifetime, which is a lot more than what most people can say. So it means so much. And for those three and for, especially during the off season when it looked like Malkin and Letang, mainly Malkin, was not going to be here this year.
Yeah, that was a scary time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it had to happen. It had to happen this way. Yeah, and all three of them had to retire as Penguins. Like, it would not have felt as special any other way.
Yeah.
I'm terrified for the day that's coming very soon when they do actually retire.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, we've had our fun, so we got.
Can you imagine? I mean, how many years? Going back to Lemieux, I mean, think how many years the Penguins have had either the best or like one of like the top three best players in hockey, like every single year for like 30 years now in a row.
Not even, you can go back to when Mario was first coming in, and he dominated till about the mid to late 90s, and then then his health issues started kicking in again, and then Jágr took over, and Jágr was the best player in the world for how many years. Then Lemieux came back, and even though he was older, even though he was an old player, he was still putting up numbers at a just stupid pace. And then
I don't think enough people
Crosby
realize
and Malkin.
That Crosby and Mario actually overlapped and played. Like, I don't think enough people realize that like they actually crossed paths.
I did not
on ice.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah. Crosby lived with Mario when Sid first was drafted.
No shit.
Yeah, he lived with Mario Lemieux. That was his first home. Holy and that's why, like, everyone, and that's a big discussion, and that's a discussion we can have for another episode, but loyalty in sports.
Yeah, that's a big topic.
And I mean, we could have an entire episode on that. But Sid learned from Mario.
I was going to say, it seems like hockey players are more loyal than any other sport.
Yeah, I think it is definitely the number one out of the four major sports.
Yeah.
Unless you're John Tavares and you leave the Islanders after you say you're going to stay and, kind of ruin that relationship. But hey.
So, do the Penguins, answer me this, because I've barely watched any hockey. Are the Penguins in playoffs?
I believe they're like a point out of it right
now. They were in, correct? And then they've kind of shit the bed.
Yes, barely. Yeah, they're barely hanging on right now.
When's the last time that the Penguins have had a full, like, pretty much like full healthy season of both Crosby and Malkin, both
2008.
having great years, and still just have utterly wasted it, essentially?
Oh, wasted it? Oh, okay, never mind. It's
just like,
and I keep going back to this, like in my head, like 16 straight years they have made the playoffs. The longest streak in North American sports.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I'm most upset about with them being on on the brink of being eliminated right now. Is that streak?
But here's the thing, though, and here's what I keep saying, telling myself. Realistically, if this team does make it into the playoffs, they're not beating Boston.
No.
They're not beating Carolina. I don't care who you give us, they're not beating them. I want to be optimistic as much as the next guy, but they're not beating any of those teams.
They absolutely aren't. You're correct.
I kind of hope that maybe they don't make the playoffs this year, and
maybe it's like a wake up call to
save us a little bit of misery from having so many 4 straight years of the first round exits now or something stupid like that. So it sucks that the golden era, not the golden era, but
the Pittsburgh golden era.
Yeah, the big 3 era, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, is slowly coming to an end. I didn't think it would be the general manager screwing the team into the ice, but here we are. Thanks, Ron.
It reminds me so much, not the general manager part of it all, but it reminds me a lot of 2 seasons ago with Roethlisberger's last season for the Steelers.
Yeah,
the team clearly was going nowhere. Like in the playoffs, they were lucky. They were just clinging to life, trying to keep that streak going, the streak of consecutive non-losing seasons.
Yeah.
And then they squeaked into the playoffs, which it's always cool for your team to make the playoffs because they have a chance, technically, obviously. Yeah. And they went and just got pretty much embarrassed, and we kind of expected that, and it one final ride for Ben, and that's granted. None of those guys here for the Pens are retiring yet, but it very much almost is like that feel. This is we're running out of chances with these guys. Try to squeak another one in here before they're gone.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Hextall just has not done that at all. I mean, that we can save that for a different episode because I got a lot more to say about that. But
get the bleep button ready.
Well,
I have a question for you, Jason, as the hockey guy.
Okay.
How much do you think if at all, how much do you think the Fenway group taking over primary ownership of the Pens is affecting things?
I think it. I mean, it's definitely different, and I think it mostly affects the big 3, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, just because the entire time that they've been here, their owner was Mario. And, you have the same ownership group for your entire career, basically, and this new group comes in and, things kind of feel just a little bit off. And in terms of how the team was constructed, I don't think it had that much of an effect on it. I think it definitely didn't help because, let's be honest, Mario, I have a hard time believing that Mario would have let the team go this far without being fixed. So, and you look at some of the other teams that Fenway owns, and Fenway Sports Group has a tendency to kind of let their teams kind of slip and kind of just go nowhere for a little bit. So I don't know. It's tough to say, whether or not that affected any of Hextall's moves or not. I don't know.
So I have a question about the whole Fenway group and everything.
Okay.
So like how we were talking about earlier about brand loyalty, team loyalty, and all that stuff. Say a Connor McDavid, okay, best player in hockey right now, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Say his contract is coming up. Okay, he's with the Oilers, right?
Yes.
Okay. See, look, I do pay attention.
Good job.
All right. So say his contract with the Oilers is coming up. All right. Is the Fenway group and is Pittsburgh a big enough market to try and attract someone like a McDavid, like a star player to come in and kind of help rebuild when the big three leave?
Well, it depends. It depends on
Cap space.
things. It depends on. So you're talking about after the big three are retired,
like on their way out. So I mean, like, it would obviously be a selling point for McDavid to come in and play a season with Sidney Crosby or a Malkin.
Yeah. So here's my thing.
Yeah.
For that to happen, it would have to be a scenario where that specific player can look at the team and go, all right, they're not going to be, contenders right away, but they've got good prospects. Coaching has a lot to do with it. Management has a lot to do with it. Maybe not necessarily ownership, but you obviously have to throw it in there.
Yeah.
But I think it's mainly how does the team look? How are they constructed? Do I see myself as a fit there? And to your point, you can play with Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Kris Letang card.
Yeah.
When those three are gone,
if the team's on your back.
Yeah, players are going to be looking at, where is this team going to be by time I'm at the position where, a superstar player, their prime, McDavid's like starting to get into his prime, which is terrifying. A player's going to look at that and say, is this going to be my best chance to win?
Yeah.
And right now, it's not, because Pittsburgh hasn't, part of sports and part of winning championships is you're not afraid to lose draft picks because you're going to be contending every year.
Yeah.
And so the cupboard is very, very empty in terms of prospects.
I don't know how their farm system is. I mean, obviously the Wheeling Nailers are an affiliate. The Baby Pens in Wilkes-Barre Scranton.
Yeah. There's some guys that could be pretty solid NHL players one day, but there's no one yet like there's no big name prospect that they have right now. And again, it's because they have drafted low for the past couple years. So that's part of sports. And once you have your good days, the bad days come super quick. And you got to do what every team must do, and you build through the draft. You build through free agency. You make a couple trades, and you're right back into it.
Yeah.
So, rebuilds happen so quick now because in all sports, because players coming into the draft are getting so much better. You can get a late round pick and they could be, leading your team. Jason Robertson, playing for the Dallas Stars right now, was a mid first round pick, and a couple nights ago, he became the first Dallas Stars player to have 100 points in a season.
Wow.
And Dallas's first place in their division. I think they're first place, fighting for first place in their division. So, you can find talent anywhere. But you're not going to get the high end, unless you get an absolute steal like Jason Robertson, you're going to be, they have a couple guys. Owen Pickering is on defense. He's a defensive prospect. He just got to Wilkes-Barre. There's some pretty high hopes on him. There's a goaltender coming in named Joel Blomqvist. He's supposed to be he is their best goalie prospect coming in. So, there's already some pieces, but it's part of a rebuild. Is you got to build from the ground up. And yeah. But anyway, we got kind of off track. Kris Letang, 1,000 games. The Penguins have 3 players who have all played 1,000 games with the Penguins, and that is a testament to just the kind of guys that they are and how much they have not only how much they have meant to the city of Pittsburgh and the Penguins, but how much the city has meant to them.
Yeah.